Michael Hadley says, does Romans 7:24, this is question number 11, suggest that sin is in our flesh? Is this the reason why some people may be predisposed to certain sinful behaviors? Romans 7:24. Sort of. Let me try to answer this question to the best of my ability here. Wretched man that I am, who will deliver me from this body of death? Thanks be to God through Jesus Christ our Lord, so that I myself serve the law with my mind, but with my flesh I serve the law of sin. One thing I think I want us to understand is that when Paul says flesh, he doesn't just mean physical body. He uses the term flesh, and there's actually been a lot written on this. Paul uses the term flesh to talk about something a little different than just your physical body, because he doesn't think body equals bad. And when he says flesh, he's talking about something horrible and bad. When he says flesh, he's talking about your old earthly nature, right? Whereas spirit sort of relates to heaven, flesh sort of relates to earth. He's talking about your worldly nature. And in that sense, I mean that, like, say, cutting off my arm doesn't get rid of some of my sin. That's what I'm suggesting here. That's not actually how it works, even though some people have confusedly misunderstood Jesus to do that. Is sin in our flesh? That's just not how Paul's using the term sarx in the Greek. He's just using it in a very specialized sense. You just have to read Paul over and over again as he talks about flesh, but then he goes on and he talks about food and how you should thank God for your food and you're eating it and you're enjoying it. But if flesh was bad, eating itself would be a problem, right? You're gratifying the flesh, like I'm enjoying my food. And he goes, oh, you give thanks to God, go and enjoy it. Because he doesn't mean physical body, he means something deeper than that. That being said, you say, hey, is this the reason why some people may be predisposed to certain sinful behaviors? I don't think the two are related to each other, although obviously some people are predisposed towards certain sins, or at least, how about we put it this way? Some people are disposed towards certain sins. It's a little difficult to suggest whether they were predisposed or whether they made decisions that angled them that way. So Ephesians talks about the old person, the old man, as it says in, say, New King James, the old man which grows corrupt according to deceitful lusts. And the part that always stands out to me in that verse is that it grows corrupt. That old sin nature becomes more, isn't just corrupt, it's getting increasingly corrupt. So a little kid who lies at a young age and then who lies more is growing more corrupt. And then by the time they become like a regular habitual liar, a little bit older, we might think they're predisposed, but in reality, maybe it was that they're predisposed to lie, or they look like they're predisposed because they've lied so much. I'm suggesting that a lot of us we're entrenched in sin. We are not entrenched in sin because it's like a special wickedness that we were born with, although we're all born with wickedness, don't get me wrong, but we're all born with sin nature. But rather, that specific sin could also be explained as, well, you just keep doing it over and over, so it keeps getting worse. By saying, oh, but I'm predisposed to it, that can take away some of the personal responsibility. And that's a concern of mine, because we're always forever, as humans, me too, my tendency is to want to take away my personal responsibility for my actions. And if I have religious reasons for doing that, then I can use those and feel better about my issues and be like, I'm just born this way. Well, we are born sinful, but does that mean that everything I do is just because I'm predisposed that way? No, at some point I got to acknowledge there's a growing corrupt, and I fed this thing. It's a monster, but I also fed it. I hope that gives you some clarity.